What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Eternal Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob, and this is our fantasy booking series, Reckoning. Tonight, we have a tag team delight night. 3 big tag team matches on tap for you, with our main event seeing our tag team champions, the Hardys, taking on the number 1 contenders, Jurassic Express, in a non-title matchup. The Hardys wanted this match to kind of test their opponents before they face off at Riptide, which is our pay-per-view for August 29th, which is a Saturday. And it is going to be completely free. So we see the arena, we see the crowd, they're excited, and then all of a sudden, the lights go down. They go black for a moment. And up on the Tron pops up the Firefly Funhouse. And inside is Bray Wyatt. And he's wearing that red sweater. He's happy as can be. He's waving his hands. Hello, friends. Hello. Welcome to Reckoning tonight. And there might be plenty of tag team action for you guys, but that doesn't mean he isn't watching. And his expression gets very serious here. He is always watching. Talking about the Fiend. And then he gets all happy again. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you later. And then the Firefly Funhouse theme plays and cuts out. First up, our opening contest. The Motor City Machine Guns are taking on the Acclaimed tonight. So the Acclaimed actually control portions of this match. They are isolating Alex Shelley and preventing him from tagging in Chris Sabin. And Caster, he gets increasingly cocky as the match continues, which has been an issue for him in the past. But eventually, Alex Shelley, he escapes here. He gets that hot tag to Chris Sabin. Sabin comes flying in. Big running kick to Bowens. Tornado DDT to Caster. He even hits a suicide dive on Bowens. Alex Shelley rejoins him, and the Machine Guns, they start stringing together. They're lightning fast double team offense. Bowens gets dumped on the floor. Caster turns around and Skull Bones from the Motor City Machine Guns. Cover. 1, 2, 3. And your winners for this opening contest, the Motor City Machine Guns. They celebrate here. They claimed. They end up frustrated, especially Caster. But there's no attack after the match. And tonight, the Guns were just simply the better tag team. Next up, we got DDP Diamond Dallas Page taking on Darby Allin. So the veteran goes against one of the most reckless young wrestlers on this roster that we have. In DDP, he's coming off a very confident win over Randy Orton at our last pay-per-view, Event Horizon. And once the bell sounds, Darby immediately, he's using his speed here, trying to keep things fast-paced and trying to keep DDP on his toes. But Page, he refuses to let him. He catches Darby with a big clothesline and starts working over Darby Allin's ribs and his lower back, trying to break down the high flyer here, which is smart because he uses his body like a weapon no matter what, and he needs his back for the coffin drop. But Darby, he keeps fighting through this. And eventually, Darby jumps off the ropes. DDP catches him with a big sit-down power bomb. The ref counts the pin. 1, 2, kick out by Darby Allin. And DDP, he starts feeling it here. He raises his hands in that diamond position, gesturing for the diamond cutter. Darby, he eventually gets up. DDP grabs him, going for the diamond cutter, and Darby shoves him out of the way. DDP turns around, big drop kick, sending him into the corner. DDP, he stumbles out of the corner. Darby catches him with a big code red, and DDP is laid out towards the center of the ring. Darby knows what he has to do. He frantically climbs to the top. He's at the top rope. He turns around. He jumps back. Arms crossed across his chest. Coffin. Drop. He hooks the leg of Diamond Dallas Page. The ref counts 1, 2, 3. And your winner, Darby Allin here. Darby gets a clean victory. And DDP, after this, he kind of sits against the bottom rope catching his breath. Before Darby leaves, Page calls him back. He extends his fist out. Darby takes a look at him. They fist bump, a small gesture of respect. We have a quick commercial-like break, and when we come back, our Vanguard Champion, Penta, Zero, Miedo. He comes to the ring, carrying the championship, and before too long, out comes Johnny Gargano, the number 1 contender to face Penta at the Riptide pay-per-view. So, before Penta can really say anything, Johnny starts unloading his mouth here. He's talking about why he left DIY. In our series, I didn't leave Tommaso Ciampa because I hated him. I left because I was tired of wondering what Johnny Gargano could become on his own. And he looks at the championship on the shoulder of Penta, and he says, at Riptide, you'll find out. Penta raises the championship up high over his head. You earned your opportunity. Johnny nods, and Penta continues, but earning an opportunity, and he steps closer to Johnny Gargano, is not the same as taking this. And then Penta raises his other hand, does a zero miro hand taunt. Johnny looks down. He extends his hand, actually, in a handshake. Penta very cautiously accepts. The two men shake hands. And then as Johnny Gargano turns to walk away, boom, a big super kick to the head of Penta. Penta drops. The crowd is booing. Boo, boo, you suck. But he doesn't continue beating down on Penta. Instead, he picks up that Vanguard Championship. He looks at it for a little bit, and then he lays it across the chest of Penta, who's still clutching the side of his head from that super kick. And he crouches down beside the champion. I'm done asking people to take me seriously. And at Riptide, you're going to. Next up, we see a rematch here. Eddie Kingston taking on the Viper, the Apex Predator, Randy Orton. Because last week, Orton got disqualified because he refused to stop the beatdown on Eddie Kingston in the corner. Tonight, Eddie Kingston, he comes to the ring. He is pissed off. He is heated. He is just ready to tear into Randall Keith Orton with everything he has. The bell sounds, and Eddie, he immediately starts throwing hands, chops, forearms, punches, and Orton answers with a big European uppercut and starts stomping away at Eddie Kingston. Eddie's able to get some breathing room, and he hits the exploder suplex on Orton. Goes for a quick cover. 1, 2, Orton kicks out. And Kingston, he starts looking for that spinning back fist. His finishing maneuver. He spins, Orton ducks, RKO attempt, but Eddie shoves him out of the way. Orton turns around once more, back fist. But Orton falls to the ropes, crashing onto the outside, and Eddie follows. And before long, it looks like this match might start falling apart. Orton, he drives Eddie Kingston in the barricade with a big Irish whip. And then Eddie, he gets the upper hand and he throws Randy Orton over the commentary desk. They're fighting back and forth, brawling on the floor, throwing each other into barricades over the commentary tables. It does not matter. They do not care about a count out here. All the while, the ref is counting. He's up to 8. He's up to 9. He's up to 10. Ding, 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 ding. Double count out here. Obviously, neither man care about this. And eventually, Eddie Kingston, he dives across the commentary table once more, tackling Orton to the ground. Eventually, officials rush in to separate both of them. Orton's furious. Eddie is screaming at everybody to let him go. He's like a rabid animal trying to break free, but this isn't over by a long shot between these two men. Next up, we're backstage, and Kevin Owens is getting interviewed here. Owens says that RVD has spent an awful lot of time complaining about losing to him. He says, "You lost, Rob. It happens." RVD walks in the frame. "You beat me once. You beat me once," he tells Owens. Yeah, that's usually how things work. But RVD isn't amused here. He tells Kevin that hitting one stunner doesn't suddenly make Owens better than Rob Van Dam. And he agrees, which takes RVD back a minute. He looks surprised, but beating you again will. RVD smirks here. And Owens says that he's looking forward to another match against RVD. And these two men just want to prove to each other who's the better man here. Next up is our second tag team match of the night. The team of Rhythm and Blues. Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine. They're coming off of a loss against the debuting Cryme Tyme, Shad, Gaspar, and JTG, who debuted last week. And they're taking on the Kings of the Black Throne, Brody King and Aleister Black. So the Kings, they make their entrance first. Very dark, very solemn. And then out comes Rhythm and Blues. They're making their entrance. They come out, they're carrying their guitars. They make it down the ramp a little ways. Boom, sneak attack, Cryme Tyme attacks them, giving them some payment for last week. So JTG, he tackles a Honky Tonk Man, and Shad, he just runs through Greg the Hammer Valentine. Because last week, Rhythm and Blues destroyed their guitars over the backs of Cryme Tyme, but tonight, they are getting their receipt. Honky Tonk Man, he reaches for his guitar, but JTG grabs it first. And then Shad, he grabs the other guitar. They look at each other, and then they start strumming these guitars as best that they can manage. It does not sound good, but they're having a good time. Honky Tonk Man, he's laying on the ground. He's losing his mind. He is upset here that somebody else is trying to play his finely tuned guitar. In Cryme Tyme, they hand out the guitars to a couple of fans, and then JTG, he looks down at Rhythm and Blues. Now we're even. Cryme Tyme leaves, the camera cuts towards the ring. The Kings of the Black don't haven't moved, and because of the beatdown, Rhythm and Blues is not able to compete here tonight, so this match is a no contest. When we come back, we see Swerve Strickland. He's standing alone in the ring. No Muscle, no Big Simone Bulldozer Umaga, no Armando Estrada. Swerve, he says that everyone keeps acting like his success is because of Umaga behind him, and he wants this excuse removed because at Riptide, no one will be there in his corner to help him. It will just be Swerve against Triple H. He cracks a grin here. And when I beat him, nobody gets to say somebody else did it for me. There's a brief pause because a reckoning is Swerve's house. Triple H, he appears on the screen. He says, good, because when I beat you, I don't want to hear any excuses either. And he tells Swerve that he better start thinking about Riptide. And next up, the camera cuts outside. It's a parking lot. It's dark, and there's Jon Moxley. He's out there. He's shadow boxing. He's jabbing. Cross hook elbow. He drops down the pavement. He's doing some push-ups. He gets back up, but then he stops and he looks around. He says, come on, Bam Bam. And then Bam Bam Bigelow crushes him from the side. He crashes Moxley onto the hood of a car, and he's unloading punches down on Jon Moxley. But Moxley, he fires back. Then Bam Bam throws him into a car door. Mox rebounds, big headbutts to Bam Bam, grabbing him. But then Bam Bam grabs him and big body slam on the hood of a car. We hear the metal crunch, and you see it fold underneath the weight of Jon Moxley. Bam Bam pulls him up again, looking for another body slam, but Moxley headbutts him again and again and again, even unloading some punches in there. Bam Bam Bigelow, he staggers back. He's very wobbly here. Moxley pulls him up onto the vehicle, hooks him his arms, big paradigm shift onto the car. Both men collapse. Moxley slides down against the front driver's side tire. Bam Bam is just laid out across the hood here. For several seconds, there's nothing. And then there's a chuckle coming from Bam Bam Bigelow. And Moxley looks towards him, and he lets out a chuckle himself. Two absolute maniacs here looking for a fight, and they got it. Camera pans away. Next up, we got a singles match. Kevin Nash taking on Damian Priest here. And bell sounds, and Nash, he's trying to overpower Priest. Big heavy knees, elbows, big boot, sidewalk slam. Nash, he controls the very early portions of this match here. But Priest, he can't keep Damian down. He keeps coming back. He's using his own kicks and chops against Nash. Big roundhouse kick, even a spitting heel kick. Nash is looking rocked. He looks like he's teetering here. He's going for that South of Heaven choke slam, but Kevin Nash blocks it. And then a big boot to the head of Priest. He goes down, cover. 1, 2, kick out. Priest survives. Later on in the match, though, we see Scott Hall comes down towards ringside. And he's just, talking crap to Damian Priest. Priest looks at him briefly for a moment, and that is all Kevin Nash needs. Picks him off, big jackknife power bomb he's looking for. But Priest, he slips from behind Nash. Nash turns around. South of Heaven choke slam connects. Going for the cover. 1, 3. Damian Priest picks up a win against Kevin Nash, and the outsiders are not going to love this. Scott Hall, he climbs on the apron. Priest rushes towards him. Hall smiles for a moment because Damian Priest, he's begging him to enter the ring. But Hall thinks maybe not. He drops back down and helps Nash retreat out of the ring. And then we cut to a commercial break. And after the commercial break, when we come back to the live action, we see Macho Man Randy Savage. Tonight, he's not just confident, but he looks genuinely disgusted here. He says, I've been trying to figure something out all week. And he's slowly shaking his head. How did Reckoning get to the point where Finn Bálor is supposed to represent this company? Some of the crowd, they look stunned. They're even booing down Macho Man. He's pointing at himself. Look at me. And look at Finn Bálor. And he's laughing. That's your world champion? He shakes his head. Finn, you're walking around carrying a championship that belongs around the waist of somebody like me. And he's just tearing down our world champion here, telling him, you don't look like a champion. You don't talk like a champion. and you sure as hell don't belong in the same ring as the Macho Man. Yeah. Finn Balor's music hits. The Prince arrives. Our World Champion Finn Bálor, he walks out onto the entrance ramp with the world title. Macho Man, he's rolling his eyes in the ring, looking absolutely disgusted. Finn starts walking down and Macho turns away like our world champion isn't even worthy of him or worthy of his attention. When Finn enters the ring, Macho Man addresses him. That belt looks embarrassed. And Finn stares at him. Macho Man, he gets closer to our champion. You know what you are? You're something I scrape off the bottom before I walk into the building. But Finn Bálor is calm here. He's collected. Macho keeps going on to our world champion. You beat Hogan. You survived Hall. You survived Nash. And you spent your title reign surviving men who are better than you. Finally, Finn raises the championship high. And yet, Finn Bálor says, I'm still holding this. Macho Man, he stops smiling for a minute. And Finn says, that bothers you. You think this belongs to you because you're Randy Savage? Finn inches closer. I think it belongs to whoever can beat me. So far, nobody has. And they're nose to nose here. Don't mistake my disgust for doubt. And he starts pointing directly into the Finn Bálor's chest with his index finger. I don't doubt that I can beat you. I'm insulted that I have to. Macho Man, he walks away. And Finn Bálor watches him return up the entrance ramp. No fight here, no brawl. Just a lot of heated words coming from Randy Savage, unleashing the madness on our world champion tonight. But it is time. It is time for the main event of the evening. The World Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boyz, taking on Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus. So, the bell sounds and the match, the action, it is underway. Jeff Hardy, Jungle Boy, they start here. Fast opening, counters, drop kicks. Jeff offers a quick fist bump. Jungle Boy accepts, then immediately takes down Jeff Hardy. Respectful here, but serious. Matt Hardy tags in, and then Luchasaurus enters not too long after. He gets tagged in. Of course, the dinosaur, he uses his size, and he begins overpowering Matt Hardy, but Matt Hardy eventually gets him towards the outside here. And this is where the Hardys use their experience to isolate Jungle Boy. Once Jungle Boy gets tagged in, they hit poetry in motion. 1, 2, kick out, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he survives here. Matt, he hits a side effect, going for a cover. 1, 2, 3. No, Luchasaurus jumps in, he breaks up the pinfall attempt. Now the match is getting chaotic. Jeff catches Jungle Boy, twist of fate. Jeff Hardy, he climbs to the top. He signals with his fingers for the Swanton Bomb. He jumps. Jungle Boy rolls out of the way. Jeff Hardy crashes into the mat. And Jungle Boy, he's making that desperate crawl, trying to get that hot tag to Luchasaurus. And he gets it. He gets the tag to Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus storms in. Big boot to the head of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy falls to the outside. Jeff gets up. Big kick from Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy gets involved. They hit a double team Jurassic Express combination. Luchasaurus covers Jeff Hardy. 1, 2, 3. And your number one contenders, they get the win here tonight. Jurassic Express has beaten the tag team champions. Clean, no interference, no controversy, and the tag team champions are stunned here. Eventually, Matt Hardy gets up. He approaches Jungle Boy. He extends his hand. They shake hands. Jeff gets the championships, and he gives Matt his title. They raise their belts up high, and Jurassic Express, they stare directly at them. The respect remains, but the mood, it feels a little different now, because Jurassic Express has proven something, that they can beat our champions. And even our commentary team says they did it. They did it tonight. But when it really matters at the pay-per-view, at Riptide, can they capture the gold? The final shot, we see all 4 men in the ring. The Hardys, they're holding their tag team titles. Jurassic Express is across from them. And the screen fades out to black. And that will be it for this episode of Reckoning in our fantasy booking series. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jacob, and I will catch you guys in the next one.